September 9, 2024. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini, the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today. Looked like in the pre-market there was a rally. Then it kind of went a spike into a more shallow channel, but even then there was kind of like two legs up. So it's a break of the screen one attempt up, pull back, second attempt. Then there was this, I guess, sell-off that happened right here. Then it, I guess, created another spike in a channel and then sold off here. So it looked very much like a sideways bullish biased M. There weren't too many trades that I could find today, and the price action was markedly slower and less volatile than the previous week. So I did take one trade today, it was profitable, and there was probably only two other trades that I thought were really decent setups. So I'm going to go into the trades right now. There was no economic data that came out to really move the market any particular way. The first setup that I saw after the pre-market broke at this green channel, break, tested a new high, came back, and kind of chopped sideways. It was very, very slow. The first setup that I saw was right here. So it looks like it was coming from this trading range. There was a new high. It's a first entry long, pull back, second entry long. I also saw it as one leg down, pull back, second leg down. Then it looked like it was first entry short, pull back, second entry short. At the time, I was thinking I was playing with all kinds of trend channels, and this one kind of fit. So I wasn't 100% sure, but it looked like it's a possible trade because if you did have this one, you could argue that it's an engulfing first entry short, second entry short, pretty decent signal bar for second entry short, but then this reverses really strongly and closes at the high. You also do have enough room to the high, so let's bounce off this purple support. I just didn't really like that setup, so I left it alone, but it is a possible trade. Prices continue moving up, breaks out of this purple and starts moving down on this yellow. Now this yellow could have fit a number of ways, and this is kind of ultimately what I drew, because I did have it tighter like this at one point. I was thinking it's a break and tested low, but as it kept going, then I kind of redrew it to this current yellow downtrend. I saw this, and it was, I don't know if it was a hunch trade, but I did think it was a possible short here from a new low here. First entry short, pullback, second entry short. The thing I didn't really like about this is the close. It is lower than here, and it did engulf this candle. It would have been a perfect setup, in my opinion, if it actually spiked up one tick, at least one tick above this one. So it looks like it's a trap. It would trap all the people going long off of this, hit the EMA, and then flush down and have a better close, not with so much wick down here. So I'm not really sure if this is a setup or not, but I just kind of marked it for myself, put in my notes. I'm not really sure what to designate it as. Technically is a second entry short. And then you have another setup here, which I thought is a possible trade because you look like you have some kind of support area here. This yellow down channel, it fits, but it's kind of big. So you have a lot of space up here, some space down here. So it's a first break, first attempt down, pull back. This could be the second attempt down. I thought it was a possible trade because it's a break of this green up channel, broke, and did test the high. Didn't exceed it, but it's one attempt up, and then it closed here. So it's a good signal bar for first entry short, second entry short, multiple tests here, potential resistance. You do have enough room to the lows. This is a 10 tick candle, so the risk is manageable. Keep in mind, I didn't have this blue down channel just yet, so I couldn't really use it as another key entry point. But I was thinking it's going to test the lows of this yellow down channel. What would have been perfect is if there was a higher low right here. Unfortunately, you don't get that, so this is more of an aggressive trade. Then after it pushes down, I was thinking, okay, I did have potentially this break of this yellow down channel, tests and makes a new low. I did have this blue channel drawn at this point. So I was thinking, is it possible that I have some kind of support here? It doesn't fit as clean, but it somewhat does. And I saw this as a push down, two attempts up. It actually creates a nice measured move. So actually, if you look from here to here, here to here, it falls a little short, but it looks like it's two legs up. It's also another good bear bar. And again, since it's right on the EMA is pointing down. I was hoping for a lower high right here, just like this one, to make me feel a little more confident. But I think there is a possible trade here. It's a little more aggressive. It's a visual second entry short, though. Effectively, you have a new low, first entry short, second entry short. This would be the third entry short, but looks like it's just two legs up and then flush down. Then prices continue moving down to here, and this creates a new low here, a localized low. First entry short, you have a second entry short failure here, but these are just very, very tight candles, very congested. So it's hard to trust the count at the moment. Plus, the way I had it drawn, if I was really trusting this blue down channel, in real time, you see this. This could reverse and continue back down because the bias is clearly going down, but then it punches through, and I'm looking for a higher low, but you don't really get one. And you do finally get a higher low here, but it's too far from the EMA. You don't want to be going long at this point when you see this, and there's no indication to go short. So it breaks out, kind of moves into this more gradual, I guess, magenta looking trend line going up. There's no clean second entries I could find. You do have a one here, first entry long, pull back second entry long, but it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. I didn't quite trust this yellow up channel just yet. Pushes up and then consolidates. Consolidates and it's first entry long, second entry long failure, but this is very, very congested. This is also what I thought was a trading range at the time. So it's hard to really know what's going to happen here. It could be a failed breakout and continuation upwards. But it ends up breaking down. I do see a second entry short here, but this is what I call an almost trade. So I was playing with a number of different channels coming down and a number of different trend lines. So this red one didn't exist yet for me to truly trust. I did see a new low, first entry short pullback, second entry short. This needed to have one tick above, ideally above this guy, touch the EMA and flush down because this trade here reminded me a lot about this previous setup over here. See I think it was this previous setup here. I needed another one tick up, so it's very similar to what's happening here. It's a repeat. It also closed below the open here and also ticked below, so it pretty much engulfed it. So this black arrow reminded me a lot of this setup here, and it pretty much did the same thing. It flushed down. I needed to feel more confident a tick above at least before it fails down because it also closed below the open, also had a tick and wick that exceeded the entire size of this candle. So it's an almost trade. I just kind of wish it had set up a little bit more cleaner. The prices continue moving down and it started consolidating here. So this is a trading range, or I thought was a trading range. It's a failed breakout and a push back in. This is actually where I took my one and only trade. So it's moving in here. It had an overshoot here, another overshoot here. I'm watching carefully, and I'm also noticing the EMA is starting to act as resistance. It's a first entry short pullback. Move it one tick over. And then it flushed down. So it's actually first entry short, second entry short. EMA is holding. It opened here. It never ticked above. One of my potential trend line resistance was here. And I was thinking this might be close enough to actually be potentially a red down channel here. Ends up being red down channel. It kind of ticked, and I was thinking it could be a failed breakout pullback. So this isn't the best signal bar, but I saw this one leg down, two attempts up, and then potentially another leg down. So I didn't quite have this drawn, but let's see. It should be something like, put this in a different color real quick. So I was seeing something like this. Green down channel had a break, first attempt down, second attempt down. EMA is helping. I have two key entry points on top of that. First entry long, second entry long, failure. First entry short, second entry short, continuation down. Potentially to move back down to here. So I entered. It isn't the most developed setup yet, so I was a little early on the entry. Ends up working. I exited right here, so I entered conservatively right at the lows here. And you can see I got my 1 point scalp. Then I move my runner one tick below this guy, then one tick below this guy, then one tick below this guy. So when it's starting to reverse up, I'm thinking, should I try to get more profit out of it? So when it reversed up to here, I quickly dragged my runner stop down to here, and that's where I got stopped out. I was thinking if it's continuing to go down, it could reverse and continue downwards. But keeping in mind, I was thinking there is this potential larger yellow down channel in play, so it could be having a bounce. And I didn't want to wait for this price action to move all the way back up to my break even +1 and lose out in the potential profit. So I gave up about, I think, 4 points of profit, but I'm okay with that because on a different context or different day, this could have just really ran downwards. Prices then continue. I saw another possible trade here. It's a lower high. It's a new low here. It's a first entry short, pullback, second entry short, and then it creates a lower high. I thought this was a possible trade because after the break of this green up channel, tested it high, and now it's continuing to move down. It does fit nicely in this yellow down channel at this point. I'm not so sure about this red down channel at this point. I don't think it's in play. So I'm thinking creating more respect to the yellow down channel. And I did like that it closed below the EMA, even though it's a bullish bar or closed green, it is a bearish bar. So I thought there was a potential trade here. And as you can see, it kind of consolidates. There was a new low here, first entry short. I was thinking there's another setup here. I just didn't like that it stopped. Like if it did what I like the candle to do. It moved up one tick, then it flushed down. But I needed it to actually engulf this guy to feel very confident. The reason being is this is a bullish candle. If it was a red candle, then I'd give it more leeway. It may or may not be at the top of a range. It's hard to tell in real time at this point. Just call this a, excuse me, call this a range. So I needed more from this candle to feel confident on even marking this trade. It looked like it would have worked. Then here I'm thinking, okay, clearly we're in a channel now, excuse me, in a range. And it pushes up, and I'm really curious to see what it's going to actually hold and push down. It doesn't, and it continues moving up. But then it hits this other consolidation area. There's no clean second entries here necessarily, but it is in a trading range, but it's also very late in the day. So at that point, I figured it was a slow day. There wasn't much price action. Just be happy with my one trade and just kind of walk away. So I know this week, well, actually, I don't know this week. I just think I'm curious to know how this week is going to play out because there's going to be the changeover to the new ES contracts for the last quarter, as well as the FOMC meeting coming up next week, where everybody anticipates a quarter point rate drop. So I'm thinking there might be just some slow, choppy price action for the next few days. So hopefully that was helpful.